Hello and welcome everyone to a new video on our YouTube channel. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to rebuild the Honda A-Series engine on this 1986 Honda Accord. But first we're going to start the car up and show you how it's acting and all the weird sounds that are coming out of the engine. So as you just heard guys, we have a rod knock coming from the engine. So now we're going to start stripping the engine down. We're going to start by removing the cylinder head. So first we're going to start stripping all the accessories of the engine, like the air cleaner and the exhaust manifold as well as the timing. We're going to remove all the radiator hoses that connect the engine to the radiator or anything to the chassis. We remove also the serpentine belt and the water pump pulley. Now we're going to remove the distributor. Now we're going to remove the crank pulley bolt. We're going to put the car in 5th gear and have someone press on the brakes while we crank the bolt loose. Now make sure you remove the keyway because it's held on loosely, it's not a press fit and you need to remove it or else you might lose it. After removing the pulley, we can remove the lower timing cover and expose the timing gear and the timing belt. Now we're gonna set the engine on the top dead center mark. Here is the mark on the flywheel and the mark on the cam gear is on the top side, right where you can see the slash on the gear and it needs to line up with the cylinder head. And after we loosen the timing tensioner, we can pull the belt out. Now we're going to remove the valve cover and start unbolting the cylinder head. Now that we removed all the bolts with the correct sequence, we're going to remove the cylinder head out with the intake manifold attached to it. So as you saw guys, we removed all the accessories and the cylinder head off the engine. Now it's time to jack the car up and remove the oil pan to see if we can remove the pistons without removing the engine. If we couldn't, or if we found any more major issues inside of the engine, we're going to be removing it later. Okay guys, so now that we got everything out of the way, we can remove all the bolts that are holding the oil pan on to expose the internals of the engine and see what's wrong with it. So we're going to remove all the 10 millimeters that hold on the pan. Just like that, we exposed the internals of the engine. Now we have to remove the 4 bolts that holds on the windage tray and the pickup tube. Make sure you keep in track for the 2 spacers that are needed to install the pickup tube. Now we're gonna start removing the 2 nuts that hold on the number 1 cylinder connecting rod cap. After removing the 2 nuts, we just hit here a couple of love taps to make it free, then we can remove it. Now using the wood handle on the hammer, I'm gonna push the connecting rod up, thus removing the piston. This clean side of the piston is caused by the ring wash, which is the oil leaking past through the rings on top of the pistons, and we can see that it's common on all the pistons, which means that the engine is consuming oil via the rings. Now we're gonna keep removing the rest of the pistons. Until now we didn't find any damaged bearings on all the pistons, so till now the bearings are fine. So if you look closely on the left side, we have a bent connecting rod. As you can see, it has a little banana shape going on, and on the right side we have a clean one. And as you can see, if we hold it upside down, we can see that the connecting rod is actually off center from the piston, which indicates furthermore that it's bent. So just like that, we found the issue, and now we're gonna remove the bearing from the connecting rod to see if it's on standard size or if the crankshaft has been ground before. And if you look closely, we can see that it has STD marks, which means that the crankshaft is on standard size and has never been rebuilt before. And as you can see, all the connecting rod bearings are clean. We don't have any scratches whatsoever, just minor discoloration, which is normal for wear and tear. And as we mentioned earlier, the piston rings have gone bad on this engine and has been smoking before, burning oil. And as you can see here, we have some scratches on the cylinder, so we're gonna deal with it now. We're gonna use this DIY hone attachment that attaches to the drill and hones out the cylinders. And as you can see, this is adjustable, so all you have to do is put it in and adjust it to the right size. Then spray on some lubricant. We're going to be using some diesel fuel and start honing it out. Make sure you keep moving it up and down in a steady speed so you won't cause any binding or damage the cylinders. We only had scratches on the number 3 cylinder, which had the bent rod. But we're gonna hone out all the cylinders just to give them a fresh new crosshatch. I know it's better to hone it in a machine shop with a professional grade equipment, but this equipment is good enough for this job because it's not a high performance car, it's just a daily driver. You can already see the crosshatch shining. Just like that, we have new crosshatches for all the cylinders, as well as cleaning them and providing better oiling for the pistons. Because crosshatches actually hold oil to lubricate the piston. Here we have a new to us used connecting rods from a junkyard engine that was disassembled and sold as parts. As you can see, when I hold it upside down, the connecting rod falls in the center of the piston, so it's not bent. Now we're gonna clean everything up and get ready for assembly. And here we have all 5 of the pistons that we have. The middle one is the crooked and bent one, and the left one is the new one. And don't worry, we have all of them lined up and marked, and we're gonna put them back in the same cylinder that they got out of. And here we have the 2 new parts that we're also gonna install in the engine. We have some bearings, connecting rod bearings, and some piston rings. So we got ourselves some standard new bearings, which are the same size and the same thickness as the old ones. Now the crankshaft is clean because all the bearings are clean and standard, so the crankshaft is obviously clean. We also had an issue with the drain plug of the oil pan. As you can see, all the threads are stripped on both the bolt and the oil pan itself, but I'm not gonna tap it because I don't have the tap with me right now and I want it to be a fast job, so I'm just gonna weld a nut, an external nut to the oil pan, and call it done. We're gonna remove all the old piston rings from the pistons, clean them up, and get ready to install the new ones. And now we have all the pistons and rods nice and shiny. We're gonna start installing the new parts. But just for safety measure, I'm gonna check the gap of each of the new rings and mark them on each cylinder. Now we're gonna wipe the cylinders dry with the rag here and compress the compression ring inside and then push it square using the piston itself. And I leave a link in the description for the engine service manual for the Honda A series, which has all the torque specs and the assembly guides as well as the clearances for this engine. And now that we made sure that it's in spec, we're gonna remove it and mark it for cylinder number 1. We are also gonna check the ring gap of the second compression ring. Now we're gonna check the rest of camera, then get back to you when assembling the rings on the pistons. Now we're gonna start by installing the oil rings. There are 3 oil rings, 2 scrape rings and 1 spring ring which sits in the middle and pushes them outside to prevent oil from coming to the combustion chamber. I like to set the gaps of the rings on 120 degrees off from each other, so evenly gapped. Now we're gonna install the second compression ring and make sure to be gentle with them because they are brittle and you can break them easily. Just walk them down. And here we have the top ring. There's a dot mark on it which indicates the top mark. I'm gonna put it on with the spinning method because it's the ridgiest one of them and the stiffest one too. Now that we showed you how to do it on this piston, we're gonna do the rest. And for the top piston rings, I like to set them 180 degrees off from each other. Now we're gonna start installing the new connecting rod bearings. Now in our application, there was no marking the upper and lower bearing, so they were the same. Check yours before you install it. There might be an upper and a lower one. Make sure to install it in the right orientation on the locking tab. And make sure you hear that clicking sound. Now we get the cap and we press the bearing inside. Now the two locking tabs on the cap and the connecting rod goes on the same side, so make sure you put them in the right orientation. As you can see, this is the tab for the connecting rod and this is for the cap. We're gonna put them on the same side facing each other. Now we get our piston ring compressor tool and lube it up and get ready for installation. Always put some oil, assembly lube or a high viscosity oil like 2050 on the rings and on the skirts. Then tighten the tool up and make sure you lube also the cylinders before pushing the piston in. Put some oil on the bearing and send her home. Give her some loft taps using a cushion object like the wood handle of the hammer and push the piston in. Then you lube the cap and go underside of the car or on the bottom side of the engine and make sure you install it in the right orientation as we said before. Guide the connecting rod in place with your hand while the other guy pushes the piston down. Then put the nuts in, hand tight, and then torque them to spec. All the torque specs are available in the link for the engine service manual that we left in the description. So go check it out if you need it. And just like that, we installed all of the pistons back in the engine. Now it's time to prep the cylinder head for installation. And we also cleaned the engine deck. And now it's time to apply a thin coat of cylinder head gasket shellac, which compensates for any imperfections in the metal of either the deck or the cylinder head. Now it's time to install the new head gasket. And with the head gasket in place, we're gonna slap the cylinder head and the intake manifold back on the engine. Now we're gonna lube all the bolts and set them in place. And following the torque sequence and the torque specs of this engine, we're gonna start torquing the cylinder head down. And once again, the engine service manual is down there in the description with all the torque specs and the guides that you need. And just like that, we finished torquing the two stages of the cylinder head to the engine. Now we're gonna double check the timing marks, and as you can see, everything lines up perfectly on the camshaft and on the crankshaft on the flywheel right here. So now we're gonna install the timing belt. Now, since we have installed a new timing belt on the car not so long ago, I made my own timing marks just for reference and for ease of installation. Now, with the timing belt in place, we release the tension of the tensioner, thus making tension on the timing belt. With that done, I'm gonna install the windage tray, the pickup tube, and the oil pan and bottom the engine from the bottom side. So now I'm gonna install the distributor back in place, and don't worry, it's idiot proof. It only goes on one way and it has a small margin of adjustment. Now it's time to install the crank pulley back on. Make sure you get the keyway or the locking key and install it on the crankshaft first. Now we're gonna install the crankshaft bolt to hold it in place. And here we are installing the exhaust manifold. And now we install the exhaust pipe back on the engine and on the back of the car. Here we are installing the water pump pulley in preparation to install the serpentine belt and the whole accessories. Now it's time to drop the car back on the ground. Now we can torque the crankshaft pulley bolt. Time to fill up the fluids. And you will also put some gas in it and do the first startup. The whirling clattery sound that you hear is from the water pump. Its bearing has went bad. We replaced it, as you will see in the next clip. The car sounds smooth. We will show you the video of the replacement later on. So just like that, folks, we showed you how to rebuild your Honda A-Series engine without removing the engine out of the car. And by doing that, we extended the lifespan of the engine and made it more reliable. So hopefully you enjoyed this video and learned a couple of stuff along the way. If you did, make sure to subscribe to our channel and like the video. See you on the next one. Peace.